Hey, y'all. Hey. Listen, I hate watching us come on. I really do.
I don't know why I don't like it anymore.
Am I the only person who is very uncomfortable watching a replay of themselves? Not the show so much because I'm just talking shit, but us coming on.
I do too. I cringe every time I come on there.
Wow. Yeah, it's time for us to get a new introduction. Okay. We're gonna have to do a new intro. Anyway, hey y'all. Welcome to another episode of Unicorn Straight No Chaser. I also said that for anybody out there that's talking shit about the intro, we already know. We already know. All right, we're gonna fix it. We are missing one today. We missing our Tony Baloney. And that's okay because she's having an extended time off due to her birthday. But we have with me the lovely and beautiful. Introduce yourself.
Hey, Tokyo Tequila here. Everyone's favorite drink. Here to bring you all things kinks and chaos. So stay tuned.
And as always, I am Siren by night, your queen of extra, your sultan of shenanigans, your diva of debauchery, and the official HBIC. So it's April, and to celebrate April, it is Autism Awareness Month. As most people like to say, I like to say Autism Acceptance Month. And because this platform is founded on mental health, we are going to be discussing my daughter's autism journey. So during quarantine, I started a blog called Unicorns and Vodka. And it's about my journey as a special needs parent, or a parent to special needs children, I should say, while having my own special needs myself. And forgive me in advance, Tokyo, because I know you've heard this story a million times. You know, I got to put it out there for the people that don't know. This is the last time, though. Y'all going to have to go back and watch it over again. I used to always tell my daughter when she was younger, because she was autistic, to be a unicorn in a room full of ponies, because who wants to be a basic ass pony, right? You want to stand out in a crowd. There's nothing wrong with being unique. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of where her unicorn obsession came from. And my daughter to this day is very obsessed with unicorns, and people know that she's obsessed with unicorns, and they send stuff to me. They give stuff to me all the time in reference to unicorns. So the unicorns are here to stay. And I drink. So
pretty simple.
Unicorns and vodkas, like shit.
I drink and I got children. Right.
Okay. And being a parent to special needs children will make you drink sometimes. Mm-hmm. The diagnosis journey will make you drink sometimes. Yeah. And I went on to say, listen, when I write and I blog, I have to be very conscious of being politically correct and not offending people and things like that. Now, I am very much that person, but I'm also very much inappropriate, which is why I ended up saying, hey, let's start a podcast. That way we could talk about mental health, but we could talk about it in a very real way that people can understand and relate to. Right. Us, be dark, all of those things. And to stay on brand, straight no chaser, because y'all, on our other shows, before we joined this network, we used to be fucked up.
Wow.
Listen, we used to be drinking and we forgot y'all was there, okay? It was about nobody at that point in time. We was talking to ourselves, all right? And y'all just happened to be able to tune in and watch it. And I kind of miss that because I kind of, I like that to get lost in the conversation, but then you have all the technical things that come into play, like you on stream, you got a time frame, other people got to come after you, and all the bullshit. So I miss that aspect of it. Mm-hmm. But as you progress, it is what it is. Maybe we can find a way to get back to that, because that was therapeutic for me. All right, drinking was therapeutic for me. But so I wanted to talk about my daughter's diagnosis journey, right? A lot of people still are ignorant to the fact that Black people are diagnosed with autism just as much as white people. They have it at the same rates, I would imagine, a lot of people just go undiagnosed too. And girls, that's a whole nother subject entirely. I could do a whole segment on just the whole process of getting your autistic daughter diagnosed, because it doesn't present the same way. So I actually is very blessed that my daughter did get diagnosed when she did, because most girls do not get diagnosed until much later in life. And then even when they are diagnosed with something, is usually not the right thing. It's borderline personality disorder, it's anorexia, it's OCD, it's everything but what it actually is. So she actually, well, let's say that when she was 1 is when I started noticing things, because I have other children. Oh, and I've raised other children that are not mine. And I was noticing that she wasn't necessarily meeting her milestones, but she was a happy, pleasant baby. Oh my God. Oh my God. And that's really how she was all the time. Like very happy, smiling, attentive. She made eye contact when she was a baby. And maybe she was too good. And I think I'll venture to say that sometimes that may be a symptom as well. Maybe she was too good of a baby. But when I noticed she wasn't meeting her milestones, and Tokyo, you know about this too, because you work with special needs children, so you're really familiar with this. She wasn't walking when she should be walking. She was not talking when she should be talking. And so by, me and the pediatrician, we work together and like, listen, okay, by 18 months, if some of these things are not coming up to speed, then we don't want to wait. We need to, look into it. So, of course, by 18 months, she still wasn't meeting her milestones. I was starting to get worried. And you start the process. So, for any and everybody who suspects that their child may be autistic, definitely the first thing you want to do is have a conversation with your pediatrician. Your child's pediatrician. My child's pediatrician was phenomenal. She's retired now, and I'm very depressed about it, but she's phenomenal. Dr. Kaza, she was really great. I know some people's pediatricians are very dismissive, like, oh, well, some kids come along later and everything. Like, as a parent, when something is wrong. If you're attentive to your kid, when something is wrong. Don't let nobody tell you different. If you feel like there's an issue, then you keep on making noise until something is done about it. Me and her we were on the same page, so I didn't have that problem.
Okay.
We got in touch with ChildLink this first. In Philadelphia, there's two, what's the word I'm looking for? There's 2 programs for early intervention. Yeah. There's ChildLink, and that's from birth to 3 years old. And then you have Elwin, which is from 3 to 5. So we started with ChildLink. And, they have the therapist come out to your house after they do an evaluation, and they determine whether or not they think your child should get services. Okay. So, of course, she qualified to get services. And, the therapist came out. She had occupational therapy, and they don't call it speech. They call it SI from birth to 3. They call it special instruction. She had that. And then came the chore of seeing a developmental pediatrician. Now, at that point in time, when my daughter had to see a developmental pediatrician, the wait lists were incredibly, incredibly long. I'm not really sure how they are now. My daughter is 11. When she was a child, a little child, when you would send out the child, they would send you a booklet. And they'll have you fill out this booklet of all their milestones and social development. And like, they ask you all types of crazy things like, when did they start using a pentagrass? And I remember saying, what the fuck is a pentagrass? And having to look it up. And I don't fucking know. Who's paying attention to that? I don't know. Now I pay attention to things like that and everybody's kids. But because I'm conditioned to now. But at that point, I don't fucking know. I know when he walk, when he talk, but I don't know when they picked up this Cheerio or picked the boogie out there. Like, that's weird. Right. So you fill out this booklet and then you send it back, and they tell you the year, not the month, the year that your appointment is, because the line for chat, the wait list for chat was like extremely long. So
Wow.
I'm freaking out. Like, what the fuck? I don't have no years to find out what's going on. So I ended up, somebody recommended Einstein. They had a developmental pediatrician, and they sent me there. Now, most people be like, Einstein. But I gotta say, there at that time, the developmental pediatrician that was there, her name was Dr. Shamali Gabali. And I don't know if I'm pronouncing
it. Good memory, child. I would never remember that. That your memory sharp, child.
I'm traumatized. That's why I'm traumatized.
Wow.
But she was an older woman. She was an older doctor, and she was good. Like, I'm blessed that early on we encountered really good doctors that knew their shit. I took her there. She diagnosed her as autistic, and then she was like, she needs to go see the geneticist or whatever. Yeah, they're looking at everything: the coloration, skin, hair, the size of the forehead, the size of the head, everything. So
that's interesting. I didn't even know. So did they before the geneticist, did they suspect other things? Is that why they sent you there? Because I don't know if that's typical for them to send you to like a geneticist when they're
if they feel that there's a need to.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
So, okay. I guess to get to the geneticist point, when I went to so she was diagnosed with autism, and then or as I would say, is being autistic. And there's a list of things that they want them to have. She needs OT, she needs speech, she needs once you have their prescription, that unlocks, and that diagnosis, that unlocks so many doors for you. So you need that, because when they just giving you all these symptoms, but they're not giving you that umbrella diagnosis as being on the spectrum, there's a lot of things that you don't have access to. But once they do that, you can get, for parents that don't know, I used to get free pull-ups. I used to get free chucks. Some people get free wipes. There's certain medical supplies that you could get for free when your child is 5 years old and they're still using the bathroom and you have to clean them yourselves. These things, you don't know these things. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they don't tell you the stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. So I always try to tell other parents, like, oh, you can get this stuff for free. You got that. As soon as you got that script with the diagnosis, it unlocks all these doors. I had to take her to the geneticist. So the reason why they sent my daughter to the geneticist is because, all right, listen, I got a big ass fucking head, okay?
I can't.
Naturally, I got a big ass fucking head. Y'all see it. I'm saying like Saul. Y'all see it. But and her dad, may he rest in peace, he had a big head. So when they're like, well, her head is measuring abnormally large, I'm like, bitch, you don't see my head? And they're like, you don't got no big head. I said,
your head is not big.
Wrap that joint around here. And they like, oh. I mean, it is what it is. I know my flaws. Anyway, so, but she sent her because she had the, enlarged head. And then it was something about the bridge of her nose. Like things that we might not necessarily notice.
Right.
She noticed, when she's looking at her. And she's like, oh, yeah, something ain't right. Like, you call my baby funny looking?
You know what?
But y'all saw the picture. She wasn't funny looking. So I don't know what the doctor was seeing, but she was seeing it. You know what I mean? So we go to the geneticist, and it comes back that my daughter actually did have a genetic disorder. So it depends on what you look up. It could be called trisomy 7q11.23 syndrome. Or it could just be the 7q11.23 microduplication syndrome. Either way, that is the genetic disorder that she has, where on the string of chromosomes, one of them has a duplication that's not supposed to be there. Whereas is it Down syndrome where they have a deletion?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't want to give out misinformation, but yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
think in Down syndrome they have a deletion, and Down syndrome is actually what trisomy. I forget.
I don't know, child. I
I,
don't know the medical terminology for it.
I'm not sure. I'm not. It's not sharp in my head today. But there's different trisomies, so that's different chromosomal disorders, and my daughter just happens to have one of them, which is why she doesn't have the autistic superpowers that people think she's supposed to have. You know, she's supposed to be like Rain Man, and you know, you're supposed to throw a bag of marbles on the floor, and she just look at them and tell you it's 105. Like, no. Bitch,
The
no.
over, you know, yeah, they do that in all the shows, and yeah, I understand that.
Yeah, it doesn't work different for her. She has a lot of problems with retaining information, you know, due to her genetic disorder. So she has to go over things a lot, over and over and over, retaining. Like, okay, if I put the map on the wall, this is how you get out of the building in case of a fire. This was this was the way the doctor had put it to me to make it simplified. You know, let me dumb it down for you. We put this map on the wall. This is how you get out of the building. Okay, now we can look at it real quick. Left, right, left. All right. But for her, it would be hard for her to retain it. We would have to do repetition for her to remember that. And then a few years later, she ended up getting diagnosed with an attentive type ADHD. So, child, it's a lot going on.
It's a lot.
It's a lot going on. And it took years to get all the diagnoses. But most children who are autistic, they do have comorbid diagnosis. And comorbid just means that there's more than one. So you could be autistic and have ADHD and also have bipolar disorder, and you can have a litany of things going on. But the most important thing I remember about her journey is how much people did not want to say the word autism to me, which was crazy because it was like, I already know. Yeah. Like, I already know. Because first of all, I'm a psychology nerd. I would consider you to be one too. I've been that way since I was a child. Like, I like to understand why people do the things that they do. And I go into the rabbit hole. So once, you know, I started learning about it, I'm just going further down the hole. And now I'm looking up YouTube videos of children who were autistic. And I'll never forget that there was this one video where this little, I think it was a little boy, and he was lining up all his toys, like very particular. And she used to, at that point in time, when I say she used to do it all the time, and it was like,
Fatman did it too. That's why, yes, I thought the same thing. So your daughter's journey is a lot similar to my son's as well. You know, like he had a lot of things, but I'm sorry, this is about
no, go ahead.
I do have literally the beginning of your situation and Audrey growing up and getting diagnosed and things like that. He went through the same thing. He had to get Child Lane came out to the only difference in our situation is that Fatman was evaluated before he got the services. So we went somewhere to get him evaluated, and they checked and seen all the stuff he can do and stuff. And then they sent physical therapists, and I thought it was speech. What you said, they probably didn't call it speech. I probably just in my head said it was speech, but they was teaching him how to talk and stuff like that. And then once he turned, and then I didn't have to do anything else. Like, it didn't seem like I probably had to fill out paperwork, but then he went to a special early intervention school. But he did the same thing. He loved dinosaurs, so he obsessed with dinosaurs. He lined them up perfectly every time. Every day you come in a room that they just lined up across the table. And it's the same thing. They never said anything about him being autistic. And I would ask, like, is he autistic? Like, I just wanted to know because I needed to know, just like you. Like, why don't y'all say the word? You know what I mean? Like, y'all, they never say it. And then it's like, so I would talk to the speech therapists and physical therapists that came out, and I would say, so do you think he's autistic? I had to ask everybody because nobody wants to say it. And but they all kept saying no. So they gave me a definitive kind of answer, like no. They just felt like he was delayed. For some reason, he just wasn't hitting his milestones how he was supposed to. He wasn't talking, things like that. His motor functions was a little slower than normal. But they all said, like, we really don't believe that it's autism. I just think he's having a delay because once he went to school, everything changed. Name's very proper now. But he was talking and everything went up. He had IEP, which is individual education plan, for a long while. But they shut it, they closed it. He hit all his goals, all his milestones and everything. So I just really do feel like early intervention is very important. Going in, like, any moment where it's like you're unsure, I feel like you need to talk to a developmental pediatrician or some type of somebody. Like, I think us as Black people, and we have our grandparents and our friends, and they always say something like, oh, he'll do it when he's ready, he'll walk when he's ready, stuff like that. I don't think we should listen to that. If we feel some type of way, go get some type of doctor to look at them and stuff like that, because it helps. It really does help the quicker you start it. So that was just
no. Listen, because people also need to know that just because your child is delayed, that does not mean that it equals an autism diagnosis either. You know what I mean? And also, autism is a spectrum. Like, I'm not saying that Fat Man is, but Fat Man could be on the spectrum, and he's just very high. What they call, even though I hate using function levels, I hate it. But what they would say is very high functioning. You know what I'm saying? His could just be more like social emotional or something like that. Like, the point is, you never know. But if you give them the tools at the beginning, that can erase them having depression and things like that in the future when they're teenagers, because, like, well, okay, I'm neurodivergent in some way. Like, whether I have this label or not, I don't think like other people. I don't feel like other people, that can prevent a whole lot of it. I was saying about the lining up that when I saw that video, it was like a confirmation and like a punch in the gut. Like, I automatically knew. Like, this is the universe telling you, like, bitch, you know what it is. Like, so I would keep telling them, I was like, you can say autism. Like, I already know. Like, I've already made my peace with it. You can say it. But that has been an ongoing thing throughout her life, that people like to take it away from her. And I'm just like, that's who she is. You know what I mean? That is who she is. And I'm okay with the fact that is who she is. Because that's why I hate those functioning levels. Because they'll see that my daughter can talk, and she can walk, and she can go to the bathroom by herself. But they don't understand the other struggles that she has. Like, I done been through two damn tablets, a fucking brand new TV, and a laptop, because she like punching and throwing things because she cannot emotionally regulate. You know what I mean? I still clean her every day. She can go to the bathroom by herself, but I still have to clean her. I have to go behind her. Hygiene is very difficult, and she's 11. She cannot function in a mainstream classroom. She just can't. It will set her anxiety off. It's too much for her. Socially, she is much younger, whereas she can engage in small bits with people. But if you put her next to another 11-year-old, you're going to clearly see that socially they are not the same age. They're just not. So, and she's very aware of it. Although she might not talk about it often, she knows that she's not what people would call age appropriate. She knows it. So that's where other things come into play, like the depression and eating disorders and masking. And for people who don't know what masking is, that's when someone who is autistic, they hide and they push down their natural natures and tendencies to fit in with typical people. And typical is what most people say normal. I don't believe in normal. Ain't nobody fucking normal. They just be lying. But that's I say typical instead of normal, and atypical instead of not normal. I say that my daughter is autistic. We use identity first language instead of person first language, which would be person first language would be she has autism. I don't think it's a disease. I think that it is an intrinsic part of who she is. Like, she's Black. I'm a Black woman. That's part of who I am. You can't separate it. Like, you just can't. She's autistic. You cannot separate that. That makes her who she is. That makes up her personality, her likes, her dislikes, her activities of daily living. You cannot separate that. There is no cure. And the fact of the matter is that people don't necessarily need a cure for being autistic. They might need a cure for the symptoms that come along with it. Okay, I need a cure for my anxiety, but because I don't think like you, I don't have to. So that's why I don't look at it like that. I just would like to encourage people that think that the world is over. My child is autistic and now the world is over. And I'm not saying that that's not normal to grieve. You grieve the life that you
hope they would have.
Projecting, yes, and hope and dream that they would have in place, of, okay, what is their life going to look like now? Somebody asked me the other day, and it's funny because I've thought about it, but I didn't really think about it. And they said, do you think that your daughter will ever be able to live on her own? And my first inclination was to be like, yeah, like, what the fuck you mean? Why wouldn't she be? But then I had to really think about it, and I'm like, I honestly don't know. I don't know. She might need to live like in one of those situations where she can cook for herself and she might be able to work or go to school and things like college and stuff, but she still would need somebody to like clean her house or stuff.
Like
you know what I mean? What you say?
Like a one-on-one or like a
or like where they live with other autistic people, and then like a group home where, like As We See It.
Yeah.
Child, I definitely could see y'all. I'm gonna talk. It's this show called As We See It. If you are autistic, if you have someone that you love that is an autistic person, I would strongly, strongly urge you to watch the show called As We See It. It's funny, but it's also real. So like parts of it will make you cry, but parts of it are hilarious because you get to see like how autistic adults really think. Like the actors are actually autistic. They're not just pretending. They're actually autistic. You get to see like how it really is living as a young adult in the world, being autistic, navigating, having sex and all this stuff like that. And it's a good ass show. But I definitely see my daughter in that show. Did you watch the whole show?
No, I ain't watched the whole show. Nope. But I watched like the beginning, like a couple episodes. I do like it. I don't know. I keep getting sidetracked.
That first episode when the guy is at work, the one with the glasses and the curl, and he walking back and forth, and he's like, "You're stupid." Like just saying to the boss, "You're stupid." I was like, "That's Savannah."
Yeah.
I definitely could see that happening, and her just being like, "Cause you're stupid." Like,
yeah. And I do think it's a weird. I find it very not interesting. I think it's awful that people look at autistic people and think like, oh, it's something wrong with them. My issue, I don't know. Like when I see autistic people, I kind of just know that they're just different. I don't really look at them like, oh, something wrong and stuff like that. I just be like, all right, so now I got to figure out what their stems are, what they don't like. Like because I am like a psychological mind and I work in that field. That's kind of what I automatically go to, like, okay, what could be triggering for her? Let me see what can happen if I do, you know what I mean? So I'm more like that. I'm always kind of thinking about that. And ever since my son went and got, special needs stuff happening, I am super in tune to it. So I can tell when people have sensory issues and stuff like that pretty early on. But I find them like fascinating. I find them funny as crap. Like I don't know why people are so standoffish about it. I don't really understand it. But that's just, I mean, I guess they're ignorant. They don't know. They have no sense of like, I want to learn. I want to know about it.
It's just
weird. You froze.
So to be clear, there's a lot of people walking around that's supposed to be typical, normal.
And
I can't call it like what? The way they
Child.
think, the way they operate, the things that they say and do, the way they navigate inside their interpersonal relationships, weird. Weird.
Very
And so I'm like, you don't have no room to be judging nobody else because there's a lot of people that don't have the good damn sense that God gave them. Okay. So that's the way I look at it. And anytime I'm like dealing with somebody that's supposed to be typical and their emotions or the way they react to things are off, sometimes you have to wonder like,
you got a little tism.
Let me
a little bit.
Just a little bit. You got a little tism. You know, but people get so offended. I had this ex that I told that, you know, I think you got ADHD. You would have thought I said he had a micro penis. What the fuck? Like, you got a little something going on, sir. I have anxiety. Like it is what it is. But
that's what this show is for, anyways. It's just to get rid of
the stigma. Erase the stigma. Like don't let nobody shame you with your own shit. Cause everybody has shit. And if that shit is out there in the open, then what's left for you to talk about? Okay, and now what?
Right. And
or the things that people call weird, and now it's so funny that being weird can be very lucrative for you.
So, yep.
I don't really get it. I'm just happy that she did have an early intervention and she is where she is now. Y'all make sure y'all wear your red this month. I'm a red instead person for autism acceptance. We don't need no goddamn blue for autism awareness. Y'all should be aware. Then y'all need to accept it and move on. And we will talk more about why I don't like Autism Speaks on another episode because y'all need to be educated. It's very much like the Susan J. Komen Foundation for breast cancer. Their money don't be going to people like it's supposed to. So, you know, y'all run around with y'all blue shirts on and what y'all know about autism? What y'all learn? I bet you not damn nothing. I bet you don't know nothing, but you feel good because you had that blue one, don't you? Put your little pictures up, put it in your hair. You don't know shit. Don't know nothing. What's a stem? I don't know. What was the point of the whole campaign? Because y'all don't know nothing.
Right.
Don't get me started. Anyway, I'm glad that she progressed. She didn't start. My daughter didn't really speak until she was 4. Definitely not in complete sentences. Okay. She still to this day, she makes eye contact with me and people that she's comfortable with. But if she don't know you like that, if she don't like you or she is uncomfortable, she will not make eye contact with you. And one of the most important things that I want to pass on is do not make autistic people look you in the eye. That is for your comfort and not for theirs. It makes them very uncomfortable and it makes them anxious. And what's the point? And I have pictures of where I used to cue my daughter to look me in the eye and she'll point and she'll look as a cue. And I had to break myself out of that because it was for me. And it's still times that I say to her, like, look at me. And then I say, never mind, you don't have to look at me. You don't have to look at me. I just want you to listen to me. Because that's all it is. You want the person you want to know that the person is actually listening to you or that they're not lying to you.
Right.
That does not require eye contact when you actually. So it's really all about understanding differences. My daughter is very blessed in that way that she had good doctors in the beginning. She did have early intervention. Thank God her mama don't take nobody's shit and wouldn't accept the fact that she's just a little bit delayed because God only knows, the goddess only knows where she would be at without all those things up front. Who knows when she would have started talking? Who knows when she would have been potty trained? You know, who knows when she would have been, she couldn't get on, she couldn't even sit in a swing. She couldn't sit in a swing. And swing her? You would like to, you want to die? Absolutely not. She wouldn't be able to go to the dentist. It's like so many things that she has progressed on that I thought that eating regular food. The
Mm.
first time I saw her eat a turkey wing, you could have picked me up off the goddamn floor. I have a video somewhere. She took my plate. I had like a platter that my friend at the time was selling platters. It was like turkey wings, macaroni and cheese. I forget what else. And at that point in time, she was still like grouping all her foods in color coordinated piles and certain textures she still wouldn't eat. And she just like, was looking, and I said, "You want some?" So I gave it to her, and she said her little ass down there. You could just hear it because she still wasn't talking at the time.
Okay.
She was around 3 or 4, and she's good, good. And I'm like something that simple, like I'll burst into tears.
Yeah. Yeah.
So Black people, your kids can be autistic. It's okay. There's nothing wrong with that at all. At all. It's about the support that they have behind them, medically, emotionally, and from the parents. And if you're the only one in the family that's supporting them, that's going to have to be enough. You suck it the fuck up, okay? Because your child needs you. And don't let anybody make you think that it's a bad thing. Right. And impress upon them how good it is. And stop keeping that shit quiet, too. Because there's a bunch of people, listen, you done inbox me. I know your child is autistic, but you wouldn't, nobody else would ever know. Nobody else would ever know. What's the secret? What's the secret? I don't know. It's a little bit weird to me. I celebrate my child's differences. You know what I'm saying? I celebrate. They ain't a serial killer. We all right. We can work it out.
Right.
Anyway, so all the month of April, the mental health segments will be focused on things in relation to autism, because unlike Autism Speaks and the Light It Up Blue campaign, I actually want y'all to learn something and take it away and be able to share it with other people to actually erase the stigma. Right. You know? Fuck you, Autism Speaks. I said what I said. Now we're going to let Tokyo take over and traumatize us.
Okay. So, Siren has mentioned earlier about a micro penis. So we're going to talk about it. So, if you don't know what a micro penis is, it's also known as microphallus. So, phallus, phallic is a penis, scientific term, whatever, medical term. So, a micro penis is basically a penis that is 3 inches or less when it's erect. So, so imagine a crane. Absolutely. So actually, that's a little bit up. That's a little bit past.
The crayon is larger.
Yeah. So let's cut it a little bit, like an inch down, quarter inch down, half inch. Now, a micropenis is typically diagnosed at birth.
Really?
Now, yes. So they can tell at birth by the size, or like how tiny. How tiny? It's not funny. I'm sorry. How tiny it is if it's abnormally small for your age, for your birth age.
Oh no! Is it when they go to do the circumcision? They like, oh,
they must take off there, right? Probably. Yes. So they get the diagnose you at birth, or you can self-diagnose as the years go on. You can tell that like ain't getting no bigger from birth. So I might have a micro penis. So there could be different causes for micropenis. It can be caused by irregular testosterone levels during your 3rd trimester. So when you're in utero, you didn't develop enough testosterone to make that part of your body grow to where it's supposed to be. Or it could be some type of mutation, genetic mutation. And in some cases, environmental chemical issues. So something that was maybe ingested or something that you was exposed to that could cause your penis to not.
What? Tell me what it is so I can give it to somebody I don't like.
Shut up. Well, it's already done.
Talking shit. You like,
take this environment and chemical. Make that shit go. Make that shit strong. So There's no cure for micropenis. But if some doctors will prescribe hormone therapy when you're young, so if they diagnose you early, like, oh, he might have a micropenis, we can start giving you certain hormones that might stimulate penile growth. It's not funny.
It's not, but I'm a man. Listen, we just talked about my daughter's diagnosis, so I'm trying to imagine the doctor coming in and just like,
I gotta break it to you. Have some bad news,
Miss Johnson. I've got some bad news. And I'm like, oh my God, what's wrong? It's a Down syndrome. Your son has a micropenis. What?
No, not my baby.
Not my baby. Where's the support group? Where's the support group?
I mean, it's support groups online. You can talk about your experience. You can. It's forums. You know, people can give each other advice on how to handle this situation.
My name is Mike. Hey, Mike. I have a micropenis. That shit look like this. Wait.
Stop. That's it. So typically most men with micropenis do have normal sexual functions. But there is some men that have issues urinating. Because, like, especially urinating standing up because it's too little.
No, ma'am. No.
So, like, you have to
stand over top of the goddamn toilet.
So they would have to probably sit. They would have to sit and like push it down because you gotta use one finger when it's like little like.
Look, you be like, just go outside, just go find a tree. No.
I'm gonna pee right straight down my leg, like it's not cool. Poor thing. Oh thing.
My God, this is horrible. Horrible.
It's so sad. I feel so bad for people. I really do. Some of them do also have health issues like infertility, low sperm count, and it's very. I feel so bad. I feel bad for them. I do, because what happens is some people really get depressed. They get a lot of psychological. Yeah, some of them have anxieties, sexual inadequacy, poor body image, depression, loneliness, anger, fear of rejection, and things like that because of how people are to people with micropenises. It's a very sad. It's very sad, but some people have learned how to turn that into a positive. So some men who have micropenises develop a humiliation kink. So we talked about that in the past episode where they like to be belittled and they like for their penis to be humiliated. You little penis, da, 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 da. You can't even have, so they kind of turn their depression and anxiety because technically I feel like no matter what, you would know that somebody gonna say something about it. Like if you go into the room, you be like, yo, I'm about to lay it down. And you pull your pants down and it's like that.
And I'm gonna be, what the fuck is that?
So I understand like their anxiety and the mental issues that come with that, because it's like everybody's gonna say something. Like it's never gonna be something you're not gonna sit there and be like, damn, that joint huge. You're never gonna hear that. You're never gonna like.
I would slap a bitch and she'd be like trying to make me feel better, like, oh, daddy is so big. Bitch, shut up.
And they don't like that. They actually do not appreciate that. They know it's little. They know it's, you know what I mean? So they don't like to be played with like that. You know what I mean? They're human beings. They know that that's not.
How do they have sex?
It's awful. It's awful. I feel bad for them. I really do.
I do. Listen, I'm so sorry. If anybody out there got a micropenis or close to it, I am sorry. I'm a bad person, and so I can't help but laugh because it makes me uncomfortable. But I am very sorry. Like, how do you have sex?
like anybody else. It's just that it's barely going in here.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so this is the hole, right? You know, and you just all up in the front here.
Yes.
What's going on? What,
You just,
I need to,
yeah.
what I can't. How am I gonna grip that?
You can't. It's not.
Yeah, I know. I got a
they need a
pipeline.
warm little. They need a warm pocket, and then that's it. They don't need no. So I also came across this little.
Get pregnant from a micro. No, we can't handle babies.
Listen,
because you can. We cannot
get pregnant. There's a lot of. I mean, their sperm and stuff is typically everything is functioning. Some people do have adverse effects, but
is it considered to be a disformity?
No.
You can't get a
check for it. Nope, can't get a check for it. It's not life threatening. It does. You don't need no
they
special.
deserve a check.
They do. I agree. I absolutely agree.
I deserve a check.
They do. Now, I don't know if this is accurate, but this is something that came across when I was researching this. But in the past, treatments for micropenis was gender reassignment surgery for babies at birth. So they used to take, they used to do gender reassignment. They used to take it off. Which means the parents were advised to bring their genetically male child up as a female. We've seen this on it wasn't Criminal Minds, SVU, but they wanted a daughter and they had twins and both boys, and then they gender reassigned that one and raised it as a girl.
No, ma'am. So they looked at
so crazy. That's abuse. It's considered abuse now. But back then, I can imagine back in the day, the healthcare professionals would do some psycho crazy stuff like that. Now that's just
you don't get to make that like clearly, this is a girl. What the fuck you gonna do with that? Like, child, just cut that shit off. That ain't no use to nobody.
That's so sad.
Like, what?
But now they just do testosterone replacement therapy. It can produce some lymph within the normal range if it's caught early. So it takes time to, you develop with the proper testosterone, you can grow it a little bit. Now there is people that will do surgery. So it's called a phalloplasty, where the skin is taken from the forearm and wrapped around the micropenis.
Oh, no.
And an inflatable penile prosthesis is inserted to provide erections.
No.
So basically,
so I'm gonna be walking around looking at niggas' arms, right? Because I know what a skin graft look like. So if I see that patch, if I see that patch on your arm, I already know. I'm gonna be like, go like this.
But my thing, and it's crazy when I read that, I felt like that is insane. You had to be so depressed, anxious to want to cut your penis up and then like wrap stuff around it and put a prosthetic, like all of that, just so it can be bigger for somebody else, so that you can feel comfortable.
But wait, no, it's no crazier than the shit that women do.
That's true. I mean, that's true.
They're putting literal semen in their ass. For who?
Yeah.
And still don't have men.
I mean, all true. True. All of it. I mean, it's all like fucked up. Its body image is fucked up. It's sad that they have to go through that and they have no real control over that happening. It's a shame. I do have some accounts of people who have actually partaken in micropenis.
Oh, yeah.
They not bad though. They're not that bad.
Okay.
So this one writer, she's anonymous. She said she dated a guy with a very small penis about a year ago. The first time she saw it, she was very surprised, but it didn't faze her. So she was nice. She was nice about it. I applaud her.
Okay.
The first time they had sex was the only time they actually had penetrative sex. I'm sorry. So I guess he tried to put it in. They tried and they did their best and they realized it wasn't going to work. So for the rest of the time they dated, they just engaged in oral only. So he gave her oral sex every time.
This the easiest.
I mean, that's some
She
easy
was
hair.
relaxed and shit. She was watching TV.
Put it right like a toothpick. Yep. And you know what? I applaud her. She didn't leave him. She didn't leave him. She gave him a chance. And she actually says, besides the penetrative sex was kind of awkward for the both of them, he was very, very good at oral sex. Amazing. It seemed like she didn't really miss it. And I heard that though, when you got a small peen, I did hear that you usually make it up in other ways. So the head be popping. And I understand them. Huh?
I said, what choice do you have?
Right, you gotta excel somewhere because you're lacking in that area. And actually some of them be really good people. Like they be nice,
Kenzie, I don't know. They be nice. They be nice.
Like they be good at being very loyal.
Bitch, you
and be a nice partner.
You cheat on me. You cheat on me with this.
Oh.
Huh?
Ciao.
I wish you would. I wish you motherfucker would. You want all the hands laid on you, the hands and the feet and the grip.
Yeah. Ciao. So then the next person she talked about, she met somebody off Tinder, and of course he went down on her first, so she was like, "Oh, this is just amazing! Oh my god, the head was great." But then he had pulled his pants down and little. And so how is this gonna work? Like she had no what are we gonna do? But she said they had really good chemistry. But sex was awkward. It's very awkward. It's very hard to penetrate. You can't get it in or anything. So I think when it comes to the micro penis situation, it's just even if you want to try, it's very hard. It's very hard to get it in because it's not gonna go nowhere. So
you had to get a strap on.
So you can get not marital aids, but you can get a penis pump. You know what I'm saying? Maybe put a lot more get some blood flowing in there. And then make it look a little bit bigger. My thing with that whole situation with the pumps and all that, I feel like it gotta hurt. That gots to hurt. You just bring all the blood here and suction it in a little suction tube, that hurts.
Yeah.
And then actually, about the phalloplasty, they are not really successful. Yes, they can make it look larger, but some people lose sensation. They get really bad adverse effects to it, so it doesn't actually help. It's more harmful than anything. Yes, you use penis weights. You could try to do penis stretching techniques.
What?
Penis stretching techniques.
What?
You try to stretch it as much as you can on a daily basis, like an exercise, a penis exercise, to get some lymph.
So you're just laying there, and it's just.
I feel like you gotta just more you gotta pull it out as far as it can go, and hold it.
Like a rubber band.
Yes. And then little weights you can wrap around it so that it can fall down. Gravity.
Are some of these people serial killers? Because I could imagine.
Some of them have severe anger, little man syndrome, all that type of stuff. Yes, they do. They have really bad anger from it because it's something that they can't control. And then I have actually heard of serial killers that had small penises and they used to kill people. They would show them their penis, and when they reacted to it, they would kill them. So they had a very
I'll be dead. I would be dead. They'll jump out with it, and I'll be like, "The fuck is that?" That's why your dick.
You be going. That'd be it.
That's my last words. Your dick's still small, shrimpy.
Oh, poor thing. But any advice I would give to y'all would definitely be, if you're a parent, try if you are given the information that he might have micro penis, I would suggest you consult a doctor about the testosterone situation to give him some hope, a fighting chance. But if that's that doesn't happen and they become adults, I really feel like you just gotta kind of accept it, like within yourself, that you have a small penis, and then just kind of lead with it. I almost feel like lead with it. To me, that would work for me. Lead with it. Got a micro penis. Are you cool with it?
Cause like if I love you, you got like if I love every single thing out, I'm not gonna say I wouldn't be with a man with a micro penis. You definitely would hit to get a strap on. Definitely.
Yes.
Cause I need the penetration.
Need some type of penetration. Right.
But you have to be good at every other area. So like you gotta be able to kiss good. You gotta be able. Your oral gotta be like mind blowing, and you gotta be good at foreplay. Like stimulate make love to my mind first and everything. So then when we're using the strap on, it won't be so bad. You know what I mean? Like
I kind of think that's what a lot of them do. Like they kind of practice everything else. They make you kind of fall in love with them first, or stuff like that. I don't really understand the micro penis males who want a quick hookup. I don't get that. I don't really understand why y'all put yourself through that. Because I feel like, especially if you're doing like a Tinder date or something, like please don't, please tell me beforehand that you're a micro penis so you can weed out people, because that's ridiculous. Ridiculous. But I feel like y'all should have therapy for sure, because I know y'all going through a lot. Have therapy, consult your doctor. Do not get a phalloplasty. Please don't do that. It's gonna hurt you more than anything for nothing. It's not worth it. And women, we need to be more acceptable. We need to accept things and understand it, because it's wrong. It's something they had no control over. Just like we talk about autism and things like that, we gotta get the stigma out and be more open-minded. We need to do that with the micro penis as well.
I would date a man with a micro penis. It's a lot of other boxes they gotta be checked off.
Right.
And your strap on has to be A1 top notch quality. Right. Okay. Like I don't know much about strap ons. You know what I'm saying? I don't really know.
I'm sure they have them. I'm sure they have some for them.
I'm more of a scissor sister myself, so I don't know that much about strap ons. But if I'm with a man, I definitely expect penetration. So. Just get top notch quality. It's 2022, but I would date you. I just want a good man, attentive, loving, caring, nurturing, good head. You all that other stuff. We can work it out.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna have an inbox full of micro penises.
Hilarious.
We could try. We could see. I'm all for experimentation. You know what I'm saying? At the very least, I'm gonna get a bunch of good head out of it. Hopefully.
Right.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
But yes, like Tokyo said, for any and all things that we discuss, especially on our Sunday show, we are not doctors. We don't claim to be. We are speaking from experience and education that we have gotten along the way. Okay. So we try not to steer you wrong at all. Are we going to laugh? Listen, I'm going to laugh at the most horrible things that happen to me. I'm very much a laugh to keep from crying type of person. And it's actually, a lot of shit is actually funny when you sit back and think about it. Once you go through it, you come out of it, the shit is actually funny sometimes. You know what I mean? Or only other people that went through it can find the humor in it.
Right.
But always, first and foremost, seek out a professional. We are very big on advocating for therapy, and more therapy. Thank you so much for joining us on this episode. Y'all go and have your conversations about micro penises or whether or not you would date someone with a micro penis. Because I feel like women, don't shortchange yourself.
Right.
A strap on, you could get the color, the size, the girth, everything that you want. Yeah. So don't body shame. That might be your husband. That might be the husband that you have been waiting and wishing for, okay? Yeah. And he is less likely to stray. So you can always find us for mental health and sex topics every Sunday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on all Head Nerds in Charge platforms. Make sure you follow them on IG, Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, especially YouTube. Go to their YouTube and follow them. You can also find us on the same platforms, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. Follow Unicorn Straight No Chaser. We do our nightcaps where we talk about pop culture, social media, nerd culture. We do that every Wednesday, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can find us on the same said platforms, okay? And make sure that you contribute to the HNIC Con Kickstarter that is coming up in that is live now, and the con is coming up in June. So that's Juneteenth weekend. You don't want to miss that. We got a comedy kickoff on Friday with our very own Tony Baloney, and King Kurt Live will be making his comedy, coming out of his comedy retirement. So you definitely don't want to miss that. We will definitely be there running wild. You don't want to miss any of those things. So stay up to date on all platforms. Thank you for joining us for an education, a laugh, and as always, a heavy pour. See y'all.